Welcome back to Touring the AFC South. I am your host, Mike Patton. And of course, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, for those that don't know. And the team here is the Tennessee Titans. Of course, there's been a few bits of news around the team in the city. And of course, I want to bring that to you, to the nation tonight. Of course, there's no one better to bring that news than the ESPN reporter and writer for on the Tennessee Titans, Turron Davenport. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Oh man, just in trying to dodge all this rain outside, man. All these floods popping up.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of rain out there, but it is what it is. That's one thing that happens here a lot, I noticed.
Right, man. It goes from one season to the other as well. Yeah. Now I wanted to ask you as well. Of course, I didn't get to bring you on at the end of the season. So to kind of ask you what the vibe, but what is the vibe kind of around the Titans, that you noticed at this point? And of course, it was a disappointing ending in terms of, how the season ended, but, what's kind of the vibe around the team right now?
Well, I mean, for the most part, there's disappointment. They wanted to, be in the Super Bowl and wanted to win it. So obviously there's a level of disappointment there. But I think really, when you look at everything, they feel they have the pieces in place to be able to win the Super Bowl. So they're just looking to run it back. And Mike Vrabel said that they have to be great around Ryan Tannehill, and that's going to be the approach. So we'll see how they do that in free agency and in the draft.
Now, you did mention the Super Bowl, and of course, with the Super Bowl, of course, there's talk around Nashville about a potential new stadium. Now, they talked about, doing the upgrades and things like that. And all of a sudden now, they said the upgrades maybe cost too much and potentially a new stadium with the Titans. Now, have you heard anything about this, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, they have the structural issues that prevent them from being able to do a complete remodel. So it's probably going to be more feasible for them to build a new stadium. But the thing you have to recognize is when you're building a new stadium, a lot of times it's not just that stadium. There's things around it. So that riverfront, I would imagine, would be a lot different. And that would be good for the city, more attractions and things like that. And then being able to have a new stadium, obviously that's going to allow you to host a Super Bowl. That's kind of the reward you get for building a new stadium. You have all the other events, women's Final Four. You got the Final Four, men's basketball. You have all kinds of things. It's WrestleMania, everything that you could have, even exhibition basketball games, maybe something along those lines. Maybe have the Memphis Grizzlies come here to play a game or two. I mean, there's all types of things that you could do.
Now, do you see a retractable roof at that stadium as well, or at least kind of that deal?
I mean, right now it's so much up in the air. There's no telling what they're going to do. It's probably going to need to be some type of covered arena, whether it's open air like what they have at SoFi Stadium in LA or something along those lines. But I mean, you see the weather, it rains here a lot. So, you're going to need something.
Yeah, definitely. Now, let's go into more of the off-season talk. You mentioned, of course, them running it back. And, of course, with running it back, you're going to have healthy players to do so. Three guys that kind of had health issues this season: A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry. Are they still kind of rehabbing or going through things, or are they just in their normal kind of, normal kind of off-season, training and conditioning right now?
Well, it's still an ongoing process for Derrick Henry. I haven't talked to any of them, so I mean, I can't tell you exactly where they are in the process. I know AJ Brown is he got some time to himself, and enjoy some time off, and I would imagine he'll be back working. But remember, he didn't have a health issue to end the season, so he was okay. And obviously, Derrick Henry came back in that last game. And that's going to be an ongoing process. When you have all that stuff going on in your foot, you got a plate in there and screws, and that's a process that takes a bit of time. So I don't think that he's going to be on that same regimen that he was this past offseason and this early in the offseason. So that's pretty much where it is.
Gotcha. Now, I did read your article today, which is a very good article and a very good analysis of the all season of the Tennessee Titans, by the way. And those that are watching and listening, if you haven't read it, go to ESPN.com, Turron Davenport, Titans Talk. Definitely something you want to read and look at and kind of digest. It's definitely good work, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, you did mention, of course, with the offseason comes potential cuts. And you did mention they were, I believe, a little over $5 million over the cap this offseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and you did mention Janoris Jenkins and Roger Saffold as potential cuts. Now, are there any other pieces that you can think of as potential cuts for the Titans this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, Jackrabbit Jenkins it's an unfortunate one because he did come in and help them out a bit, late in the year. Like he got some things together. And Saffold, obviously, when healthy, he's a really good player for them, but it's dollars and cents. I think Kendall Lamb is somebody that could be an option. There's a few others as well, but yeah, I think those three right there. You could look at reworking one of the contracts there for Derrick Henry, Taylor Lewan, any of those as well.
Gotcha. Well, I did hear some rumblings. I don't know how true they are about Taylor Lewan potentially being cut. I don't know if I believe them or not.
Where did you hear that?
What's that?
Where did you hear that?
I mean, I've seen it a few different places. Don't necessarily know if it's viable information. That's why I was bringing it to you as opposed to bringing
like social media, like Twitter.
Yeah.
Talk?
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if Lewan is cut. It's
gotcha.
They'll look at reworking his deal. It's very unlikely that he's going to get released. Very unlikely. So I don't know, what Twitter reporter put that up there for you, but I wouldn't really buy into that.
I hear you. And, I didn't really buy into it, but I just thought it was interesting to even see that even put out there, which I thought it was an interesting question. But now, as far as, of course, signings this offseason, the biggest person they're talking about now is Harold Landry. Now, you did an article on Harold Landry as well. And, what do you did mention that it would take potentially, big time money for him to come back, like, pay like one of the top outside linebackers in the game. What kind of range would you say that would be? And do you have in mind, or what you think of?
I mean, you look at Bud Dupree's deal, the $82 million. It's going to probably be in that range. I mean, you look at, I would say probably anywhere from 15 to 18 million per year. So you go 18 million per year on 4 years. It's pretty large money. You go 5 million per year on 4 years. So you're looking at 4 years, 60. So I think that's kind of like the floor of what the deal would be.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I just wanted, I definitely wanted to ask about those different things because, of course, you have people that get tied into different athletes, different players on teams, and they want to know, are they going to stay? Are they going to go? Are they going to take the money? Those type of different things as well. Now, as far as free agents outside of the Titans, of course, I know they have a lot of work to do in terms of creating cap space, but do you think of honestly, the tight end position, that's one position that needs to be upgraded. They got a lot of free agents at that position. I've heard you mention the name David Njoku, and I've heard the name of Mike Gesicki being mentioned as well. Now, honestly, in my opinion, I don't know if the Titans have that type of money to bring those two guys in, or one of those two guys in. But in your opinion, do you think it would be more the draft they would approach at that position just based on where they are? Or would you say more of a free agent or a low-line free agent?
I think it's going to be both. And they don't have the money to do it right now. But if they wanted to sign one of those players, there's plenty of things that they could do to sign them. So money really isn't the issue with Gesicki or David Njoku. I think when you look at them, it's just the positional spending. They don't typically spend money on the tight end position. I'm talking about high-end money. Otherwise, Jonathan Smith would be here. And I think him going to the Patriots is the classic example of really where they are as far as the tight end position is concerned. Now, there are some guys that they could sign, whether it's O.J. Howard, Hayden Hurst. You look at Dalton Schultz will be kind of right in between, like right underneath Gesicki and I would say probably above Njoku. That's another name to mention. I know there's a match there, so that is something. But I think you look at those lower cost guys, like I said, Howard, Hurst, and those types, and then you double down and get a tight end or two in the draft. They have Bradley Moore, an undrafted free agent out of Kansas State, and they really liked him before he got hurt. In fact, he was getting first team reps from time to time during training camp, so that's an option. But the draft, I mean, you got Charlie Kolar out of Iowa State. You got Ruckert out of Ohio State. You got Cade Otton, if you want a blocking tight end, out of Washington. You want a guy that gives you a nice vertical type of threat. You got Jelani Woods out of Virginia, who is 6'7", 259. There's a bunch of guys. You want an athlete, you got Chiegu Guano out of Maryland, who's a very athletic tight end. He showed off there along with Woods at the East-West Shrine Week, and Woods had a touchdown in the game. So those are guys. I mean, there's a bunch of them, man. Greg Dulcich out of UCLA is a guy I really like. Enjoyed watching him play. Big play type of guy. He averaged 17.3, I think, at yards per catch. So there's a lot of options in the draft, tight end wise. I mean, I didn't even mention Cole Turner, who had 11 touchdowns. You know, you're talking about a tight end out of Nevada who could do it all too. I mean, there's a lot of guys. A lot of people like Isaiah Likely out of Coastal Carolina. I'm not a big fan, but he is somebody that, you know, could come in and help the passing game as well.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot of different pieces that could potentially fit in there, and you know, definitely for those that didn't know, Turron is definitely a wealth of knowledge when it comes to draft pieces and players out there. So when it comes to the draft, he's definitely your guy as well. It's definitely gonna be interesting to see how they fill that position and what they do, and you know what the brain trust decides on that. But before we wrap everything up, I want to go with end everything with a little game of stay or go. I'm going to mention a player. I want to get your thoughts on whether they stay with the Titans or re-sign, or if they go. You ready?
Yep.
All right. We've got Harold Landry, the first one. Does he stay or does he go?
I think he stays.
All right. Now, another key player, Ben Jones.
I think he stays as well.
Rashaan Evans.
He goes.
All right. We've got Jayon Brown.
He goes.
We've got Deontay Foreman.
That's a tough one. I hope he stays because he's a pretty cool dude. I enjoyed talking to him this season. His story's really good. I'm going to say he stays because they need that change. If they need that guy, just in case Henry's not all the way 100. So, yeah, I think he stays.
Yeah, that was the one that a lot of Titans fans are like, they hope he stays. They have like kind of the same sentiment that you do. Mm-hmm. They hope he stays. They like him. They like what he brought. So that's an interesting one to watch. Another interesting one to watch is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine.
Is he a restricted free agent?
I'm not sure if he's restricted or not, to be honest.
I don't believe he's not unrestricted. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. I think he stays. I could check his contract. If he's any type of free agent, it's restricted. But I think he stays.
Gotcha. Okay, and
they like him too much. So he has value to them. Yeah, he's a restricted free agent.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll put some type of tender on him.
Gotcha. Now I'm not sure if Teair Tart is a restricted free agent or not. Is he a restricted free agent?
I could check on him. Yeah, Westbrook-Ikhine is an exclusive rights free agent.
Okay.
So there's he'll be back.
Gotcha.
Let me just see. I don't believe he's a free agent either. But if anything, he's a. Let me see. What are some of the other ones? Yeah, he signed a 3-year deal.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I don't think he was.
Gotcha. I thought he was a restricted, but I could be completely wrong there. And of course, my apologies to the listeners and the watchers of the show, but my apologies there. But definitely just wanted to, of course, throw some names out there of some different guys that some decisions might have to be made on.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I guess I can get it wrong sometimes, right?
I mean, you didn't even ask about any of the tight ends who are actually free agents.
Yeah, I know. I thought about asking about them, but I kind of in my mind think they all gone. To be honest.
They're probably gone. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, I had it in my mind already. It was like, yeah, they probably gonna be gone. So I didn't want to ask you those because I was like, they'll probably be out of here. They'll probably just
I mean, I would assume it's in your mind that Jayon Brown and Rashaan Evans would be gone too. That's and actually, so Tart is an exclusive rights free agent as well. So these guys aren't they're not true free agents. I mean, there's basically still, for the most part, if the Titans want them back, they could easily have them back.
Gotcha. Well, that definitely was an interesting game of course, stay and go. But, definitely want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for giving us some knowledge. Thank you for talking football with me. And for those that aren't aware, can you tell them where they can catch your amazing work and where they can catch you on social media?
Yeah, at @Davenport_NFL on social media, ESPN.com, the Titans page. You just click NFL, click team, and then Titans. And then Talking with TD on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and all those other platforms.
Yeah, for those that don't listen to Talking with TD, oh man, it's always a fun show. I did catch the show where you talked to the tight end from Virginia, so I wasn't surprised you mentioned his name. But I've got to watch some tape on him. But man, just hearing the measurables, that guy's going to be a dangerous weapon for somebody.
Yeah, 84-inch wingspan. So we'll have Cole Turner and Charlie Kolar on this week. So keep the tight end team rolling. We have Velus Jones, Jr. Tennessee, the receiver. We had him on last week's show as well.
Yes, sir. Definitely a good interview with him as well. Thank you for everyone tuned in. You've been watching and listening to Touring the AFC South with your host, Mike Patton. We're out.